I would like to know why you supported the NDP support for the invasion of Libya, which resulted in the deaths of many innocent civilians, women and children, and of course knowing that NATO employs the use of depleted uranium in their munitions, you must have realized this was a highly dangerous environmental move. So why do you support such conduct?
The question is, why did I support and why did the Congress support the invasion of Libya? You make the correct point when you mention that it was, well, you mentioned NATO, but you don't mention the United Nations. I'll tell you quite honestly, I believe that our only hope in the world is to follow international law. The United Nations... Hold on, you've asked the question. If you want to ask the question and give the answers, just let me know, I'll give you the microphone. But if you've asked the question, why don't you give me a chance to give the answer in that case? Canada is still part of the United Nations. The United Nations Charter provides that one of the basic things that you're supposed to do as an international community is to protect citizens of a country from attacks, gratuitous attacks by the government.
You're protecting citizens by bombing them?
Well, let's look at the situation as it existed before, and let's look at what existed now. International organizations have just completed their assessment of the elections that took place in Libya. We've replaced, because he was attacking his own citizens, Gaddafi, and we now have an election that international organizations all concur was extremely fair and a model for an election in a country that's never had any democratic process before. So frankly, between having a dictator there who was indeed subjugating and killing his own people, replacing him with a democratic system, I consider that to be progress.
Because you support the mission. You support the bomb. Just a moment. Let me ask you the question. 25,000 sorties. Bombing. Yes. No, I'm asking the question. Let me ask the question. And they use, and you support the mission. No. The mission used depleted uranium. And the question to you, sir, my question to you is this: 25,000 bombing mission, and Canadian participated in 2,500 of it. You supported the bombing mission. Did you support the bombing mission? Did you support the 25,000 bombing mission? You don't want to answer that question because NDP wasn't an interventionist party. No, 25,000.
While claiming to be in Libya purely for imminent humanitarian concerns, the United States dropped 45 2,000-pound bombs containing depleted uranium in the first 24 hours of the attack. What is depleted uranium, and how does it affect life long after the bombs are gone? Experts have said that the rising cost of this war could easily pass $1 billion. And just what is all this war about anyway?
For more on these worrying accusations of depleted uranium being used by coalition forces in Libya, let's get some comment on it. Cross to Berkeley, California. We're joined there by journalist Con Hallinan. Con, thanks for being on the programme. It's appreciated. Now, the US denies, doesn't it, using depleted uranium in Libya, and yet we've just heard war veterans in that report there claim that there is evidence showing its use by coalition forces in their airstrikes. To what extent do you think these accusations are true then tonight?
I'm almost certain that they're true. For instance, the A-10, which is the low-level standard attack plane that the United States uses, and the AC-130, which is a large airplane that fires 25 millimeter and 30 millimeter ammunition. Those are all depleted uranium ammunition. I mean, they don't make non-depleted uranium ammunition for those. So of course they're using depleted uranium. The other thing is, if you look at some of the damages on the tanks, you'll notice that there's like a single hole in the tank. That is a classic entrance point for a depleted uranium ammunition, particularly a 30 millimeter shell.
That kind of damage, there's a really good chance that was a DU round. I'm about 80–90% sure that was a DU round.
Melissa Sterry served in the U.S. military during the first Gulf War in the early 1990s, clearing up battlefields in Kuwait. Back then, the U.S. dropped more than 350 tons of depleted uranium over Kuwait and Iraq. Pictures of bombings from Libya seem all too familiar.
You see how there's touches of red? That's the burning. See how it shoots out instead of a cone straight up and you've got the flare at the bottom? That's a DU explosion.
My question I did. What do you think about
I'm not going to answer it again.
Why aren't you have no comment on people being bombed in Libya?
No, I totally agree with the leader.
You agree with the leader. So you agree with using depleted uranium in Libya and killing women?
I agree with what my leader said.
I see. Okay, thank you. What do you think about the invasion of Libya and the bombing of people with depleted uranium? Is that a good idea for us to be doing? You have no comment on that?
Got a comment.
Are you concerned about the women and children that were killed in Libya during that invasion? What about contaminating the area with depleted uranium?
That's
That is a question.
Would you decriminalize marijuana?
No, I think that would be a mistake because the information that we have right now is that the marijuana that's on the market is extremely potent and can actually cause mental illness. I agree with that, but there's a big difference between decriminalization and full legalization.
So which would you be in favor of?
I would start with decriminalization. I don't think that anybody should go to jail for simple possession.
Thank you. Com?